Hi everyone, it's Angie Montgomery, and I wanted to hop on today and go live for just a little bit. And it's been a little while since I've gone live, and so I wanted to see how everybody was doing with everything going on and with quarantine. So as normal, I'll give it a couple minutes and let people join. Hi Megan. Ooh, we have Sandy and Emily. Hi. And Abby. Good to have you guys here. Hi, Dory. So it's Friday, which I like to say Friday. It's been a really good day here. I hope that everybody has had a good day. Thanks, Abby. Hello, beautiful back. So I'm just kind of like hanging out, still doing a lot of quarantining. And I did some sessions today, and I just feel in the zone. I had an awesome day, and it was super fun to do some remote sessions. So I've had people asking me, actually quite a few people messaging me or asking me if I'm still working and still doing sessions, and I am. I'm doing a lot of remote sessions. And so, yeah, you can definitely reach out to me on my Facebook page, and I would love to work with you during this time as well. I think people need it now more than ever. And it's really good to get some energy pick-me-ups too. So thank you guys for everyone who's done sessions with me, and thanks for joining. So today I was just kind of feeling collective energy-wise that there's probably quite a few of us that maybe are feeling a little bit stir crazy, right? Like being inside way too much, maybe wanting to get out and that kind of thing. So I thought it'd be good we could do a little bit of a meditation. And then today what I really wanted to do is, I've been doing a lot of pendulum work. I don't know if any of you ever work with the pendulum, but I've been clearing a lot of energy and just opening energies up. And I feel like maybe we could do a little bit of like a remote Reiki for anyone that's on. I'll just send like a little Reiki love bomb to everybody that is on the live today. I've been sending a lot of Reiki to people today too. It's just fun. So, and I think it's really helpful. I also thought today what we would do is if anyone has any spiritual questions, let's just do a fun like spiritual Q&A. I think that would be really fun. If you have a question for me or about mediumship or connecting or guides or angels or anything like that, if you want to ask questions in the comments, I'll put up my phone here in a minute and start looking and seeing if there's any questions in the comments. And then what else was I thinking for today? I was just trying to be all creative with it. One of the other things I was thinking is for my own sanity, I love teaching classes. That's one of the things that I love to do. And I do a lot of classes, spiritual classes around town. And of course, unfortunately, with shops being not able to do group readings or group classes and that kind of thing right now, I thought about holding some classes through Zoom. And so I was wondering if I could get some feedback on that from people. Is that something that you'd be interested in? If so, what kind of class might be interesting for you on a spiritual topic? I do all types of classes. I do classes, I'm going to get some Reiki classes up too, but I do classes on spirit animals, spirit guides, connecting to your loved ones on the other side, past life classes. Gosh, Dory's on. She could probably remind me of some of the classes I've done. Oh gosh, just all type of spiritual classes. I've even thought about doing like small audience readings within a Zoom environment as well. So if that sounds like something that would be interesting to you, let me know. What are some other ones that I love that I teach? Oh, soul contracts and talking about relationships maybe that you have in your life and what the meaning is behind some of those, but just any really spiritual topics. I teach a lot of different classes. All right, so let's see here. Oh wow, I have more people that joined that I didn't even know. I love that. Hi Katie and Kayla. Okay, so I'm gonna actually log on my phone just because it's easier for me to see the messages that come up that way. And then we're gonna get started with a little bit of a meditation. I need to turn off my volume. Sorry about that. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Ooh, Marissa. Hi, Tessa. Yay. Ted, hi. Elizabeth. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's just do a little bit of grounding really quick. So let's just take a moment to a little quick meditation and just kind of have our energies be calm, and then we'll get in this sacred spiritual space. And I think that it's always good during this time for as many deep breaths that you can take, and all of that is really good for all of us. So let's do that, and let's also do just a little prayer, okay? So if you'd like to join me, go ahead and close your eyes, and I'll just do a quick prayer and then a quick little deep breathing exercise. Father God, thank you for this time that we get to spend together, and I ask you to continue to guide us through the coronavirus crisis that's going on right now, God, and to open our hearts to the lessons we're meant to be learning, and to not forget how serious this is, and take precautions for those that are compromised, immune-wise. We just ask that you're with us during this time, and that you help this be for the greater good of all, and for this experience to be a true spiritual awakening for all of us, to come closer to you and to our purpose and to what's important in life, and to not forget these lessons that we're learning during this time. We ask that you give us faith, perseverance, and strength to lead us through these days. We ask for us to grow closer to you, to know the love of Jesus, and to not have fear in our hearts, but instead to have an energy of love and generosity towards others. I ask that everyone on this call is blessed by our time together, and that I'm a conduit of your love and your peace that I'm sure all of us could really use right now. And I also ask for anyone who has been affected by this, whether it be an illness of a loved one, or a job loss, or just having a hard time going through this process of isolation. I ask that you bless everyone, God, and that you help shift our perspective if it needs to be tweaked during this time, so that we see things clearly the way in which you would have us see it. And I ask for this, the coronavirus to stop spreading, and for us to really get what we need to get out of this time. And thank you, God, for being with us here today. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, so let's go ahead and just kind of keeping your eyes closed. Let's just start by taking a couple of nice deep breaths in through our nose, out through our mouth. And I'm talking really, really deep breaths. We breathe very shallow breaths a lot of times. So really breathe in, allowing your lungs to expand. And on each inhale that you breathe, feeling the gratitude that you have for your own body, for your lungs, for the air that you breathe, sending love to yourself on the inside, and truly being grateful for this beautiful vessel that God has given you to walk this earth with, to live your purpose, love those around you, and love yourself. So on your next inhale, just kind of rolling your shoulders back just a little. And this time, imagining a beautiful pink light coming into your heart chakra, filling up your heart, expanding your heart, allowing your heart to open fully, to give and receive love, to feel a sense of your own worthiness. One more deep breath. Feeling how beautiful life is and feeling grateful for it. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you. Okay, Sarah, I love you too, beautiful. That's sweet. Hi, Darcy. Hi, Camila. And Cindy. Lots of great people are on. This is fun. So I was sharing, if you're just joining, I was just getting on to basically say hello, happy Friday. Hope you're having a good end to the week. And thought I would just open it up today to more like spiritual questions, maybe some Q&A. I also was hoping for some feedback if people would be interested maybe in doing some spiritual classes and that kind of thing. So I'll probably be doing some more offerings on my page soon. So Kim, I see a question here from you. You said, what are your feelings about seeing repetitive numbers? There hasn't been a day in 2019 so far in 2020 that I haven't seen at least one set of numbers. Do you feel there's different meanings by different numbers? Absolutely. So in the sessions I do, so for those of you who aren't familiar with me, I'm a medium. I'm also intuitive and psychic. So I do sessions all the time for both of those services, and then I'm also a Reiki master, so I do a lot of Reiki as well. And one of the things that I teach about too is angels, and angels send us numbers a lot. That's one of the ways that the other side communicates with us. And so there are angel number books, or you can even look up, Kim, you can always Google certain numbers that you're seeing, but I think there's absolutely, numbers is a strong way for the other side to communicate a message to us. And sometimes they do that as well. Maybe we're not listening to our feelings, or we're not trusting our own intuition. So numbers is another way that they're able to do that. So there's of course repetitive numbers. Let's say, 222, 444, 111, 1111, all of that. There's all of those types of numbers, angel numbers, that are communicated to you. But then there's also a lot of times where people will have a certain sequence of numbers that are popping up for them specifically. So for me, one that I was seeing a lot was 370. I kept seeing 370 on license plates. I would see it on literally like signs and just all over the place. And this was just an example. So last year, I had went full-time in my business. And so after I was seeing it a couple days in a row over and over again, I'm like, okay, I need to look that up, obviously. So I did. And it talked about being right in alignment with who you are and living your life purpose and doing the work that you're supposed to be doing. So it was really just validation of, okay, I'm doing the right thing and everything's gonna be fine. Once I got that message, then I stopped seeing those numbers. There's other numbers that might have significance in like a connection with somebody else, for example. So there's people in my life where it's like, oh, when I start seeing a certain number pop up, I know that that is my connection with someone in particular, and maybe I need to reach out to them, or I need to make sure that they're doing okay. Or if there's somebody in my life a lot, and I will see strong numbers. Let me see, what else do I want to say about numbers? So yeah, that's just a way, and there's a lot of synchronicities with numbers as well. One of the things I tell people a lot in my sessions is that when you start seeing a lot of the angel numbers or repetitive numbers, that's also a wonderful sign that you're in the midst of your spiritual awakening. So that's a surefire sign that you're going to start seeing more synchronicities in your life. The universe is speaking to you, and you are experiencing a spiritual awakening. It's one of the ways that they start getting through to us. So thank you for that question. And I do an angel class as well, and I talk about some of that in my angel class. So Ted, hi Ted, you're saying yes to Zoom, many spirit guides, and grow my abilities. Love that. So maybe talk more about those. Yeah, numbers, seeing lots of repeating numbers lately. So with everything going on in the world right now with the coronavirus, I early on knew that this was partly what we're supposed to be getting out of this is a spiritual awakening, and that it's a mass spiritual awakening, and it's happening quickly, and people are going to be waking up very quick. And so that's part of what's happening for a lot of people. And typically when we experience a spiritual awakening, it's not typically in times that are just easy and everything's flowing just fine. It's in times that are challenging. And so our planet is ready to be awakened fully. I feel like Mother Earth and Gaia is also ready for us to awaken, right? And like treat her well, and treat her well, or kindly, and take care of her and that kind of thing. And so there's lots of different aspects to everything that's going on, but part of it is a mass spiritual awakening. And so I've been working with clients, and it's like, oh my gosh, as this has all been going on, I feel like I'm waking up a lot more in the middle of the night. I'm seeing numbers that are repeating. I'm feeling like there's spirits around me. I'm doing a lot of soul searching. And it's really interesting because a year ago, when I went full-time, I was praying a lot, and I am a God girl, so I talk to God all the time. And I hear him speak back to me. And I kept getting this message of, I'm going to get people where they need to be, because things are going to be shifting soon. And you're going to need to be where you need to be, because people are going to need to find you. I literally knew that. And it was like, I'm lining up my light workers, and you need to be ready. And so I knew for quite a while now that there was going to be something that was going to be happening. Something was going to be shifting on our planet, and people were going to be awakened quick. And the awakening process can be, it's beautiful, but it also can be very confusing and challenging. And having somebody that can kind of help guide you through that, I think, is really important. And I went through my big spiritual awakening. I've been spiritual my whole life, but definitely around the age of 30 it started. And then I had my dark night of the soul around the age of, it was 34 is when it really started. And everything, basically my whole world got disrupted, and everything changed. And I had like an ego death and a rebirth process. And I had a lot of outward things that were happening, like external things in my life that were challenging. And I would not trade that for the world. And I had gotten around last year when I went full time as well in my business, I had gotten, you've done the work and you've gotten there. So you need to be there to help other people through this process. And that's one of the things that I've really been wanting to do. And one of the reasons I've been doing a lot of lives, because I don't want people to feel like they're alone with that process. And I have really, coronavirus for me this whole time, I've been pretty grounded and peaceful because I've been through other things that have been challenging, to where I think you build up resilience and all of that. Not that I still don't have my own moments or that kind of thing, but it's like an honor to be able to be here and do this work and hopefully help people through the process. Okay, so if you are having a harder time, I just want to say, know that there's something beautiful that happens through that process. And I look at it as kind of like a refinement process. And I think sometimes that we can stray off our path, or we can forget what's really truly important in life. And sometimes God has to bring us back to what's important. And it's always the basics, right? Like, it's always the loving one another, being good to those around you, spending time with your family, living your purpose, living from your heart, not getting caught up in the materialistic things and all of that. And this has caused a lot of us, we've had to slow down and become still. And in that stillness, there can be a lot of beautiful things that can happen with that. And we can tap back into who we really are on a soul level. And I think that that's what God wants us to do, is be an expression of Him on this earth, and be who we really are, and not get caught up in the ways of the world, but get caught up in the ways of Him. And so if you're feeling a sense of maybe this has been challenging, or something is wanting to shift in you or change in you, go with it. Allow it. That's what helps us to change and to grow. And one of the things that I've been thinking of a lot this last week or two is how we get in our mind that we need way more than we actually do. I think that we can get into this very consumerism mindset, and we need to work all the time. We need to make this much money. We have to take care of ourselves, obviously. But I think, one of the things taught me is you can do with a lot less than what you think. And it's more about what I go back to this thought of, at the end of your life, right? Like, truly at the end of your life, what do you want to remember? Do you want to remember rushing and doing things that really aren't important, and going from activity to activity and not really being present, being maybe on your cell phone or social media, or spending time doing all of that, working to death and all of those things? Or do you want to look back and say, gosh, I lived a good life, and I took care of my family, and I was there for people that I love, and I spent time one-on-one with people around me, and I wasn't distracted, and I was present in my life, and I gave to things that were life-giving, not life-taking. And so, we all have to answer those questions for ourselves. What's important to you? Why are you here? What's the purpose of life for you? What's meaningful? And it's okay to wrestle with some of that sometimes, or feel like maybe you have a little confusion, or that you're lost a little bit here and there. But God will guide you through that. And I've been praying a lot the last couple of days to really get my lessons out of this time. What is it that God is trying to show me? And what is it that He wants me to know? What is He trying to shift in me or to change in me, so that I can be the highest expression of myself, which is really of Him, right? We're all a spark of divinity. And what am I truly supposed to be here doing? And so, because I'm spiritual and I have a spiritual business and I've been on this path for a long time, doesn't mean that I still am not humbled to the fact that I have growing to do, and I have lessons to learn, and I have my own stuff that I have to work through. And I think that that's been really great and really healthy. And I've tried to detach more from my phone and social media and that kind of thing. It's like, no, I don't need to. Why am I wanting to feel distracted? Is it because maybe I'm not wanting to look within? And so just even having time where you give yourself that time to do a little bit of that soul searching, and the answers always come, because God's always there dishing it up and letting us see what it is that He wants us to work on for ourselves. So don't be afraid of that. it's a good time to do some of that thinking. I think there's a part of us down the road, perhaps, that might miss this time just a little bit. Not the virus, of course, and the fear of that, and people obviously potentially getting sick, but the quietness. I've never experienced something like this. I don't think any of us have, where we really have an opportunity to be still and things are slower and connect back into ourselves. And that's a big part of what's happening right now. And it would be beautiful if we have a different way of living that comes out of this, a better way of living. So being open to those changes. It's okay for life to change. It doesn't have to be scary. So Abby, you're saying that Zoom would be fun. I definitely think connecting with past loved ones and opening up your third eye. I love that. It's good to see you on here, Abby. Hi, Diet. It's great to see you, and Mindy Joe. Just seeing if there's any other messages. Hi, Sheldon. Ooh, Heather, you'd like to take classes. Hi, Heather. Hi, Mara. I'm just going to go down the list and say hi to everybody because I love you all. Yes, Tessa, numbers are everywhere and they're always trying to speak to us. So Mandy says, my mom has a red cardinal that pecks at her window every day. What are your thoughts on the meaning of this? So cardinals, for me and my readings, a lot of times they're crossed over loved ones. And so when I do readings and mediumship, a lot of times the loved ones will share what the messages are, signs that they're sending their loved ones. And so cardinals are definitely a messenger from heaven, absolutely. And a lot of times if you find that cardinals will show up when you're thinking about a loved one, or maybe when you're missing them, or when you're going through kind of a rougher patch and maybe you've been asking for clarity or that kind of thing. And so, yeah, cardinals are definitely heaven sent. And a lot of times they are connected to a particular loved one as well. All right. I love it. Elizabeth, you're saying you got chills. That's good. Hi, Janelle. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you on here. So Summer is asking, did you hear or have many psychic abilities before your dark night? Yes, absolutely. I did. I always felt connected, and just like a smidge about my story. Some of you might have heard a little bit about my story, but I always felt connected. And when I was young, we lived in an old house and I would feel things and that kind of thing. When my grandma passed when I was 20, which is almost 20 years ago, y'all. But when she passed away, I was very close to my grandma. I adore her. And she was absolutely, I would say, one of the loves of my life, and taught me a true unconditional love. I have never felt so loved by somebody. We just were very, very special to each other. I would say she was my favorite person. And so when she passed, I felt her. I would feel her around. I knew that she was there, and we had some spiritual experiences before she had passed as well. And that's what actually opened me up to learning about mediumship. And I would go to mediums to connect with her. I would go to audience readings and that kind of thing. And there would be times in the audience readings, like I would feel spirits and I would feel messages wanting to come through. And then I fast forward. So I was always into all of this. And then fast forward to when I was 30, my dad passed away suddenly, and total daddy's girl here. And then that really opened up everything for me. And I would always feel him around me and all of that. So that was before my dark night of the soul, but that kicked off everything for me. That was a huge loss. And that's when I started asking what I believed in, what I was here for, gave my life over to God. And then the dark night of the soul occurred for me when I had moved from Omaha to Colorado on my own, and I didn't know a single soul. And I felt very guided to go there, not realizing that that was God actually using that as an opportunity for me to be in isolation and to only be able to rely on him for 100% of everything. And there in Colorado, it was such a spiritual area that I was in. I was outside of Boulder. And everybody just believed in all of this. And so it was very like affirming. It was like, oh, people are like, yeah, of course this is real. And this is how everything works. And I started learning about auras and energy and going to groups. And I was doing all of that here in Omaha too. I loved it all before I left. And I always loved mediumship. I mean, I would go to Rebecca Rosen that would come to town. And I had a friend one time that was sitting with me, and He's like, you could do that. You're going to do that one day. I'm like, really? I am? Oh my gosh. Like, that would be amazing. And then I've got, was read a couple times and people were like, you're going to be a really good medium. And, but it was through that dark night where it was like, I gave everything over to God. And it was very much I didn't have a corporate job like I did before. And I just like gave up all these things that I was defining myself by, because we tend to define ourselves by a job or a relationship or what we have or things. And I learned through that process, no. I'm a child of God. That's who I am. That's what I'm here for. I don't need any type of a title or anything external for worthiness. And that to me is like, when I say the ways of the world, that's what I'm talking about. I could care less what I drive, what I have, none of that matters to me. Materialism, I could care less. I care about who I am and how I treat people. And I have had a lot of experiences where it's like, I could feel God's like, all right, Angie, you're going to need to like step up to the plate and be who you really are. You're needed in the world in this way. And I remember it's probably 2018 or so. I had to go to Delaware for a work trip, and at the time I worked corporate leadership development still, and I did this on the side. And I was sitting on the beach and I felt God's presence, and it was like, I need people that are willing to step up and say the truth and not be afraid of what anyone thinks, what anyone's going to say. And I need you to be that person, Angie. And so I need you to get to that place where you're not afraid of being 100% who you really are. And I felt this desire of like, oh, I just want to be, yes, I want to do that. I want to tell people about all of these things that I know are true. And I came back to Omaha and I was like, yeah, I'm done with that old way. So there's been like a process to it for sure. Like everyone has a path and a journey. But my soul feels so at peace with what I'm doing in my life. And I just love it. And I love growing. But the dark night of the soul definitely helped. When I talk about that being an ego death, that's the beautiful part of the dark night of the soul, because ego tells us that I don't know if this is real or true. I don't know. I shouldn't do this. I'm not good enough to do this. I'm not, and people expect this out of me, or this is who I am. So if I totally just come out as something different, then that's all ego. And I was just like, I'm not doing that anymore. I want to do what I'm here to do. And none of that other stuff matters. And so that's the beautiful part about the ego. The ego death is you get to come out as who you really are. And your gifts are able to shine through that, because I think I mentioned in another video at one point during the dark night of the soul, I was having a really hard time, like knowing what my direction was, what I was supposed to do, things that I thought were maybe going to be happening weren't materializing, that kind of thing. The sense of like kind of failure, I had that. And I was telling God, I'm like, God, I feel like I'm unraveling. Like, what's happening to me? And I heard back, you're not unraveling, Angie, you're becoming. And that was so beautiful. It was such a beautiful message. And I was reading a lot in the Bible at that time, Job in the Bible. So if you're familiar with that, he kind of had everything, and then everything's taken away, and his family dies, and all these things happen to him. And he was really close to God before all of that happened. And then he was kind of angry at God, but then he got to where he needed to be for God, and he like basically got everything back, right? And that scripture just kept coming up to me, and I felt like I knew that there are times in life where God has to strip us bare. That has to happen for us to become who we're supposed to become. And we might feel like everything that we've known and everything we've had is just taken away from us. But that's the faith walk, right? My book is titled Faith Walk. That's what I talk about, is I talk about my dark night of the soul in there, and how if that experience hadn't happened, and I hadn't literally, like, my whole life was different. Everything that I had known before that, my decade before, everything I'd worked towards was just like not there anymore. I don't think I would have become who I am today. I always had this person inside of me. I mean, I've always been spiritual, and I've always loved to help people and all those things. But I was like relying on other people for things, like a corporate job or a boss to think, give me promotions and get where I needed to be. What that dark night did is I let go of all of that. Ego stuff, our ego likes to be fed, right? With like validation and oh, you get this promotion, or you get this, you have this to work towards, climb that corporate ladder, or whatever that is for you. That didn't matter to me anymore. I was like, I could care less about any of that. And at that time, I had left my job and I was 34. I'd become a director in a company that I worked for in over 10 years and like worked my heart out, had gotten my degrees, all of that stuff. None of that mattered to me. I was like, I don't need that. I want to do God's work, and I want to do what I'm here to do. And I want to help people on a very deep level. And I don't care about any of those things. And so that was a time where I kind of felt like everything was kind of taken and stripped from me. But what ended up happening was when I moved back and I didn't give up on my dreams of having my own business, I kept pursuing it. I kept persevering. I did whatever I had to do to, make sure that I was taken care of, and I worked a job and all of that during that time. But I kept my eye on the prize, and I was like, I just want to do your work, God. And that's what I'm searching for. Everything else, that doesn't matter to me. Nothing else it means anything. It's about doing what you sent me here to do and connecting to other, gosh, I'm getting chills, I'm getting a little choked up, but I always wanted just to help people on a very deep level with finding peace and finding themselves and living their best life. Like that's what was important to me. And through my work, I've been able to do that. And I gave up any outside, validation of, I didn't look for anything outside of myself. I just was like, God, what do you want me to do? And I'll follow you, God. And that's what I've done every day since. Yeah, Tessa, you can't take it with you. You're right. Oh, growing pains aren't easy, but they're worth it. Absolutely. I hope this is like enjoyable. Yeah, Darcy. It is what is important, and it's your life purpose. We have a lot of life purposes, and I think sometimes we think life purpose is like a job or a career or doing something that's going to make money or whatever that is. I think we have a lot of purposes, and a lot of times, part of our big purpose is to be there for the people that we love, and some people's purpose is be a parent or be a great friend, or our purposes can also change over time as well. So it's fun to know that life changes and we get to change and evolve with it. And Kayla says, I've learned how important meditation is since all this stuff is going on. It's very true. Meditation is a great way to connect and to feel a sense of peace as well, because we have a lot going on in our lives every day, and meditation is at our disposal to where anytime that you need it, it's there for you, and it helps you feel really grounded and helps you feel really connected into the other side as well. So Mara's saying, can you talk more about lack of sleep? I don't sleep anymore. Seems like it. I will take your classes online. Okay. So sleep. That's interesting you're bringing that up, Mara, because literally this week, sessions that I've done, it's like, oh, people are just like waking up left and right. So there's a lot of spiritual ascension and spiritual energy around right now. And part of that can be like restlessness or a sense that there's energy shifting and it's harder to get to sleep, stay asleep, that kind of thing. A lot of people are waking up, between like 2 and 5, 2 and 3:30 around that time period. I feel like that's like happening a lot lately for people. And part of it is that the other side wants to speak to us. And so when you're being woken up, it's important to ask, are there messages? Is there anyone around? Are there things that I'm supposed to be getting right now? Is there anything that I need to know or need to learn? But it's part of that awakening process. It's harder to stay asleep. Hi, Tanya. It's good to see you on here. Yeah, you got to join live. Yay. Hey, Kelly and Tim. All right. So Jamie, you're saying, I always feel my grandpa with me. Sometimes I'll catch a smell of what he used to smell like randomly and always see him in my dreams. He'll stay and visit with me and will tell me he has to go, but he'll be back. I love that he still visits me. Yeah, that's a beautiful way for visits and to know that you are still very connected to your grandpa. And it's funny that you mentioned a dream, because I had another dream with my dad in it last night, and it was awesome. I was like doing a spiritual event, and my dad was there, and I was telling people why I got into doing this, and it was because of him, and it like choked me all up. But he's my guide on the other side. I feel like that with your grandpa. It's like he has turned into more of a guide for you, I feel like, Jeannie. And I feel like even just asking him to come in your dreams, I always tell people, if you really want to connect to your loved one, ask them to come into your dream, and then be patient with the timing, because sometimes we ask and it's like, oh, that didn't happen, and so it's not going to happen. Sometimes it takes them a little time on the other side to be able to make things work here physically, so they're learning as well. But yeah, absolutely, your grandpa's there, and smells are a strong indication that somebody is with us as well. When you do smell them, or smell something that reminded you of them, or smell maybe a scent that was around them a lot or in their home, that is like a surefire sign that they're right with you. All right. So Christine needs some good vibes for your husband. He's struggling. I can absolutely send you some good vibes to him. I think at the end, I'm going to go ahead and do that Reiki for everybody that's listening. Hi, Andrea. You've come so far since then. You're right. You were on my path with me in Colorado, Andrea, and we had some talks, and you absolutely helped me through that process. I'm glad, Marissa, that you needed to hear this. When I log on, I'm like, God, give me the words. What stories do I need to tell, and what do I need to tell people today? Angie Green, you're on. Yay. You made it to my live. It's good to see you, girl. So Angie Green, if you're not familiar with her, she's an amazing herbalist here in Omaha and a great friend of mine. And we've been talking a lot through all of this coronavirus. We get on the line and we're like, let's heal the planet. And it's amazing because we'll do healing sessions together. But if there's anything you need, or why, she's just absolutely amazing. And so I want to give her a shout out. Megan, you're saying my book is absolutely amazing. So life-changing. Thank you. I wrote that book from my heart. It took me a long time to write it, and it just meant a lot to me. So thank you for being a fan of it, because we've talked about it. So thank you. Hi. Angie, I need this bad today. Thank you. I can't wait to read your book. Oh, thank you. Emily, I think you're the one that's probably on, I think. Maybe both of you are. I don't know, but hello to both of you. All right. So Sheldon, you wake up after 2 a.m. So I've got some, hi, Kathy Larson. I don't know if you're still on, but she's amazing. And she was one of my spiritual teachers, and I appreciate her so much. So I'm having some people say, yeah, you were woken up during the middle of the night as well. Yeah, okay. So Tessa, I make you smile. You make me smile too, and I miss you. I miss our trades, Tessa. Tessa's an awesome massage therapist in Lincoln, by the way. So if you ever need a massage in the Lincoln area, contact Tessa Lynn, because she is the bomb. All right. So Marissa, you're saying I would like to learn about the 5D and whatnot cosmic like. Okay. So 5D, so I'll talk a little bit about that. So 3D is the third dimension, which is our physical reality. And so when you talk about something happening in the 3D, it's happening in life, like that's your reality right now. And the 5D is the fifth dimension, is just like a higher level of energy, if you will. So there's like different frequency levels and different energies that brings with it. And so 5D, when I connect in, like when I do my readings and things like that, I'm connecting into people. It's more at the 5D level. So that's more of our spiritual knowing. And so for those of us, all of us, we have our 3D selves and our 5D selves. So 5D, you could also say, is like your higher self. That's where your higher self is. And your higher self is you. It is you, but it's a higher vibrating, higher frequency you that is guiding you. So we all come here, I believe, with a plan. These are my beliefs. Take what resonates for you. And I always tell people my beliefs are always expanding and growing and changing as well. But 5D is like you're able to, things on a spiritual level. You know what you came here to do. You know what's for your highest good, what's for your best. So when I even do sessions with people and I'm doing readings, for example, and maybe I'm picking up on an energy of somebody they're asking about or someone they're in a relationship with or that kind of thing, that's all on the 5D level. I'm able to connect to them because I'm connecting into their 5D self. And the 5D parts of ourselves, that aspect of ourselves, knows the plan, knows our purpose, knows what we're here to do, wants to help guide us on this earth plane, which is the 3D, right? So I always joke that it's kind of like we come here to earth with spiritual amnesia and we forget who we really are, which is a spiritual being, and first and foremost. And we have all these plans for what we want to accomplish here, what we want to do. We can always change that because we have free will, but things that would be meaningful for us, right? Things that we would like to accomplish. And that 5D part of us is there to guide us. And so sometimes people will come to me and maybe they don't feel connected, like our crown chakra is where we connect into the 5D aspect of who we are, and spirits and that kind of thing, that spiritual energy. When we're not feeling as connected, that's where sometimes maybe we're feeling a little bit more lost, or people might come and say, oh, I feel stuck, that kind of thing. Well, when we reconnect to our higher selves on the 5D, it really helps bring us back into a place of balance where we can get messages, where we can connect into really what we're here to do and move forward. So I believe that a part of us always stays in heaven, right? Like there's a part of us always connected at that very spiritual level. It's an aspect of us, but there's part of us that is very connected to the other side, and it's that 5D aspect as well. The other thing I would say about that, Marissa, is that as we're growing on a soul level, all of us, right? We're all growing right now. Everything is really going to be okay, and we're going to get out of this, right? And it's going to be amazing after. I feel like there's a new energy coming in. And that needed to happen on our planet for a very, very long time. Part of what's going on spiritually right now is that we're able to clean up some old energies that no longer serve our highest good and haven't for a very long time. And we're really trying to ascend to the next level on our planet, which would be 5D. I believe that we're trying to get up higher to being in that 5D energy. 5D energy is very light, it's loving, it's beautiful, all of that. And there's different dimensions. There's 7D on up. So as you ascend, there's not as many of those like heavier energies, right? So I always talk about like 3D energies. So we have here on Earth, the truth is there's heavy energy sometimes, right? People get anxious, depressed. There's these like despair energies, that kind of thing. That's like lower vibing energy, right? And the closer that we are to God, the higher vibing that we become. So when I'm connecting to the 5D, for example, I raise my vibration. I can raise my vibes. I vibe high, so I can connect in that level and in that way. And I feel like I can I understand frequencies, and like connecting to the frequency of angels, connecting to the frequency of loved ones, of spirit, of higher selves, all of that. It's all about connecting to that frequency or to that vibration or that dimension. I mean, all of that's very similar. So I hope that helps. Girl taking notes. I love you. Okay, I'm just seeing if there was anything I missed. I feel like today's energy feels good. And there's days, if you haven't, I don't know if there's some of you out there like me, where there's days where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling that it's wonky, or like people are anxious today, and then I'm feeling all of the feelings. And today I felt like, oh, it feels good. And so we all have this collective energy as well that we're vibrating within, and you can always vibe out of energies that you don't want to be in. Like there's nothing that says that you have to be in a certain energetic space. We get to choose that, right? And so that's where I feel like meditation is really helpful, or having that positive self-talk, or taking some deep breaths, or going on a quick little walk. What can you do to like shift out, right? I feel like this old paradigm of feeling like we have to struggle and things have to be hard. Like we're moving out of that. And there are some people that are probably, right, and at this time, and I've seen this in my own like little world with people that are struggling to awaken. They're struggling with it because what do you do when you want to, like, you've been used to living in a certain vibration and a certain frequency for so long, and you're wanting to shift out of that? It can be scary for people, right? It can be, I want to hold on to the old because I know what this is like. And if you're fighting this ascension or fighting this awakening, it's just going to be harder on you. And harder on those around you. Instead of saying, okay, I'll awaken, like I will go with the flow, right? So you can either like flow with the river, flow down the stream, or you can fight against it. And it's really a choice, right? We all have that choice to make on our own. So one of the things that will help people get through this time is saying, okay, I accept this. If there can be fear involved with starting to awaken, right? I've worked with people, and I feel like a lot of masculine energy is having, like, not everybody, and so I'm not stereotyping at all, believe me, everybody's on their own path, and I believe everyone's an individual. But if you've kind of been taught to avoid the spiritual and avoid the messages and avoid that connection because it's not right, or it's scary, or this or that or whatever, that's just going to be harder, because God wants us to awaken back to him. It's going to happen. And so it's a choice, right? Do we want to go the easier route with it, or do we want to learn a little bit more challenging way? So if you're feeling a sense, or you have people around you that maybe you're feeling like, oh my gosh, they're feeling depressed, or they're feeling really anxious, or some of these things, the more that you, like I said, are fighting that awakening, it might be a little more challenging. But it's not an easy process, but it's a totally worthwhile one, I guess, is how I would say that. Angie Tucker says hi. Tell him hi as well. Yeah, text me, Marissa. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm just kind of checking stuff out here. Okay, so hi, Alice. Thanks for joining me. It was fun to do that session with you a few weeks back. So you said, can you talk about spiritual baths and grounding? Absolutely. So one of the things that is really helpful today, gosh, I just want to use my pendulum. I want to clear all the energy. I've been doing a lot of energy clearing today with my pendulum, and I feel like I need to do this as we're talking. So one of the things that I have been getting strongly, so it will help you a lot during this time if you do a lot of energy clear, if you start making sure you're taking care of yourself, doing a lot of self-care. People might be a little more tired than normal. Allow yourself to take a break, take a nap, that kind of thing. So with baths, one of the ways that we're able to get rid of a lot of energy and energies that we pick up on that are maybe not our own, that we need to cleanse out of our aura and out of our system, is salt baths. So a lot of you probably do salt baths or do Epsom salt, that kind of thing. That's a really great way, just kind of take care of yourself and to cleanse your energy and that kind of thing. But also set the intention that when you're in that bath and you're, put your salts in, put some smell good stuff, right? Whatever really makes you feel nourished and loved for your taking care of yourself in a loving way. But you can ask for anything that's not yours, be taken through the water, right? Take that away from you, cleanse that from you. You don't need to carry anything that's not yours to carry, right? To just rid yourself of that. But dry bathing, I think, is partly what you may be talking about too, Alice. So you can always shake off the energy. I think I talked about that last time. You can just swipe. You can go from the back of your neck and just kind of swipe down each arm and just ask for any energy that's not yours to be. I always say, please God, take it back to the light for transmutation. So you don't just want to always get rid of energy and leave it in a space. You want to send it back to the light, send it back for it to come back as good, right? But you can even just shaking off energy. If you feel sometimes you have a lot of energy built up, shake it off and just ask it to be taken from you, and set the intention not to carry anything that is not yours. Even if you have a heavier energy that you're feeling around you, ask for that to be taken too, right? I think sometimes we think we have to hold on to things, or we have to work through stuff, and we have to do the nitty gritty work, and it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't. We don't have to hold on to things for so long and feel it's just going to take me a decade to get through this. No, ask for it to be gone now and be done with. You don't need to carry stuff. You don't have to keep this backpack on your back of all these experiences. Let it go. Let it go, let it go, let it go. Try to stay in that very good high vibing energy. And then grounding is really important too. So grounding is really associated with your root chakra. And there's lots of different ways that you can ground. It's going to be nicer out. I mean, I know there's snow on the ground and we're in April, but it'll be nicer out soon. And going outside, even I know I'm quarantining. A lot of people are in more of isolation right now. But if you can go outside, if you can go in your yard or whatever that is for you, barefoot, and put your feet on the earth and ask for anything to be taken from you. Ask Mother Earth to take it and transmute it. That's really helpful. Literally, hug a tree. I'm just saying. I'm not even kidding. Why not? But no, sitting under a tree and like putting your back up against it, putting your hands on the earth and just like asking everything to be taken from you that you don't need is a really great way. Even just like putting your hands on the earth, all of that's very grounding. There's grounding kits as well, or earthing is what I call it, on Amazon that you can buy too. And there's lots of things like you can do with that too. Yeah, Shelly. Hi, Shelly. New energy is coming. It sure is. Okay. Yeah, you can block things that don't feel good. Absolutely. Darcy, I'm playing my crystal bowls as you speak. I love that. Sending everyone great vibes. That's awesome. Thank you, Darcy. You rock, sister. Yeah. Oh, hi, Chris. All right. So one of the things, Elizabeth, you're saying you need to be more awake. Interesting you would say that, because one of the things that I do in my spiritual business with people in sessions is I open their third eye. And I actually just talked to someone that I did a reading with a few months ago, and he did one today, and he's like, oh my gosh, after you did that, like, I'm awake. And that was the catalyst. Like, I have all these synchronicities, I'm getting all these messages, and if you had not done that, I wouldn't be where I am. And that was like so amazing for me to hear that, because there's a certain like technique thing that I do, and I just know to do it. And it's just something that God has shown me you need to help awaken people. Like, that's part of what you're here to do, and this is how you're going to do that. And I mean, who doesn't love validation, right? So it was just great to hear that it's like, okay, wonderful. So we can all become more awake, right? And like, there's different things we can do to get there, and part of it's just is asking for that. You know, it's asking for your gifts to be opened and all of that as well. Hi. Oh, Chris, thank you for saying that I've helped you with the spiritual world. It was so good to have you in my life. And then Ted, last 2 times I was in your group readings, the room gets very full with spirits. I get a headache. Does this happen to you? Am I missing something? I do not get a headache. I feel the energies. Yes. So audience readings is what Ted is talking about. And so I feel the room does get very full. Many, many loved ones, spirit guides, angels are in the room when I'm doing audience readings. And even when I'm doing in-person ones, it's a one-on-one, I will see a little crowd of people around the people that I work with. But I don't get a headache. For me, what happens is before audience readings, I always pray and I meditate and I ask God to help me connect into the spirits that really need to come through, like whatever messages really are needed, whether that be, you know, maybe somebody had a very tragic death and someone that's coming to the audience reading needs to know that their loved one is okay, whatever that looks like. And I always ask for spirits to start connecting to me ahead of time. And so when I do that, I've learned I have a lot of fun with mediumship and with the work I do. I think you have to have a sense of humor, because there can be some heavy things that come through and some really, really hard situations and hard passings and all of that. And I connect into the spirits, and I'm telling you, they feel they're people, right? And like, there's some spirits that people come to me time and time again, and I'm like, oh, they're just like my friend now, and they can hang out with me whenever. So for me, it's like an anxiousness in my stomach before I'm doing audience readings. And I've had to learn, there's been times where I will be driving to an audience reading and I'm like, okay, start connecting to me. You can start telling me who you are and like what your situation is and who's coming tonight and all that kind of stuff. So a lot of times I arrive with already like a little post-it of spirits that want to come through. However, I learned to be careful at how soon I ask for spirits to start connecting, because they will start as early like that day, right? Like early in the morning and all of that. And then I have this like anxiousness the whole day. And so I kind of joke around with the spirits when they're like really giving me a lot of anxiety. It's like, you guys line up and you guys got to play nice, like be good kids in the sandbox. And you know, I'm going to get to you when I can and one person at a time, because I will just feel like this gut feeling. But over time that's gotten better, and I've kind of like learned how to just kind of roll with that. And that's part of what I think makes the audience reading so amazing, because there's all this like hyped up spiritual energy and I love it. I was doing an audience event, and it was Missouri Valley not too long ago at the Eagles Club. And I tell you, before people even got there, it's just spirits started coming in. The whole entire room was just like full. I could feel the spiritual energy, just like this full spiritual energy of so many spirits in the room. So I think what happens is, and then of course, as I'm giving messages and people are leaving, I felt like, ooh, they're going as well. And then it's getting lighter in there. But I think part of it, Ted, is just figuring out how that shows up for you physically when you're connecting. And you can just ask your guides to like help you not have that such a physical response to it. And also you can let the spirits know, okay, these are my parameters, and like, these are my boundaries. I've had to learn that. I have to have spiritual boundaries with all the spirits. I used to be woken up in the middle of the night all the time. And I mean, I've been touched. I've felt touched. I've seen my shirt moving, all kinds of stuff. And I got to a point where I was like, okay, so guys, like, I want to communicate with you. I know your loved ones are coming. Like, maybe they're coming tomorrow for a session. I get it. I want to talk to you. I want to help you, but you need to also respect the fact that I need some sleep. And so I just started to learn how to like work with my boundaries, basically. Okay. So Angie Green is saying, do you think we are being asked to retreat into homes to get more yin? So much yang and anger in the world, and we need to soften. Absolutely, Angie. And I think we should do a live together sometime, because I know you have a lot of wonderful thoughts around all of this stuff. I think that we need to tap back into our hearts. And I think that I feel like there's been a lot of, and I'm talking energies, right? That's all we're talking about. There's masculine energy, there's feminine energy. And I think the feminine energy is an energy from the heart and loving and caring and kind, right? Like the feminine side of who we all are. And we all actually carry masculine and feminine energy, by the way. Just because you're a male doesn't mean you don't carry feminine energy. And just because you're a female doesn't mean you don't carry masculine energy. We all do, and it needs to be balanced, right? Because when we're balanced, we're in a good state of like giving, receiving, and in a balanced state within ourselves. And when one side or the other is kind of out of whack, that creates imbalanced energy, right? And I think that we've been in this very much like driven, masculine energy for a long time. I think Mother Earth, honestly, has been angry, y'all, at how we are, number one, treating her. And I think that we see that come out in fires and this disaster and that and this and that going on, right? I think there needed to be healing that needed to happen, and we need to come back to a balanced state. And I think that the feminine energies are where we need to be, right? Like, I think we still need that balance, but we need that nurturing energy right now. We need to nurture one another. And there's always, with everything, I'm a Reiki master and a teacher with Reiki as well. With energies, okay, there's a balanced state with energies, and then there's a distorted state, right? Like a distorted, so let's say, and I have chills on that, masculine energy, right? It's beautiful. Masculine energy is beautiful. It's protective. It's in a balanced, harmonious state. It's protection, it's care, it's wanting to provide, it's all of those things, right, that are beautiful. That's beautiful. In a distorted state, I think it becomes, what are some of the things that it would become? Ego, greed, right? Power, control, those are distortion, right? And then like in a weakened state, if you will, it can be, maybe there's no action, maybe there's inaction, maybe there's like disregard, or like a lackadaisical energy, right? So like in a balanced state, it's beautiful. And that's an important energy to have, of like taking care of, feeling responsibility for, being very respectful, right? Like those are all beautiful masculine energies. So the feminine side is femininity, right? Like feminine is giving birth, right? Giving life, nurturing in its balanced state, right? Like in a beautiful balanced state. Those are all things that the feminine energy is in our lives in general. It's loving, it's kind, it's generous, all of that. Like in an imbalanced state, what is that? It can be, and I think that's where sometimes when we think about shifts in our planet and things like that, I think like a super imbalance can also be independent. I don't need anyone else, anything else. I'm good on my own, that kind of thing. I think in a more weakened state, it's I give over my power, I give over my control and all those things. So we want to be balanced in both our masculine and energy, not only within ourselves, but on the planet. And so, yeah, absolutely. Like, I think there has been too much anger, greed, going after the wrong things. There's like a small group of people that kind of have everything. And then there's a lot of people that maybe the other end of like not having enough, right? And so I think that's not the way we're meant to live. We're meant to live to care for one another and to protect and give to one another and to be loving towards one another. And I don't think that the anger and the hatred that has been in this planet for way too long, that needs to stop. And I think that we need to accept one another. I mean, you have so many divisions in everything, right? Like there's this side and then there's that side, and then religion, it's this or that, and this is wrong and this is right, and you're wrong if you don't believe this, and you're right if you believe this. And we're all, I want to say this like 5 times, we're all one. We are all one. God is God. You can find him in a million different paths, in a million different ways. And by the way, you can believe in this and that, and it can all be true, right? Like I remember I had this guy ask me once, so what are you? Are you Christian? Are you like a Buddhist? Are you just spiritual? And I'm like, I don't define myself. I'm God's girl. I'm a spiritual being. And that's it. And I believe a lot of different things. And I resonate with a lot of different things. What I resonate with is whatever's true to me. And I don't ask another person, I learned this a long time ago, and I live my life this way. I don't ever ask another person what I should believe. Never. I ask God. So if something's true to me, it's true to me from God. And that's all that I need to know. And so we have too much judgment going on. A lot of judgment, and that's not Christ-like, by the way, right? Like judgment, that's not something that Jesus taught us. Jesus taught us to love everybody. And Jesus taught us to accept everybody. And he went to the lepers and the sinners, right? I think we all just have experiences. I don't think that it's sin. I think that it's life lessons, but we own choices, right? So, but Jesus went to the people that were outcast. And so never have I resonated with a Jesus that is judgmental. Never. That's not who Jesus has ever shown up to be to me. Jesus is loving and forgiving and kind and beautiful. And he loves us just the way we are. And so there's no judgment. I'm all about whatever is loving and accepting and kind. That's the God that I know. So that's a tangent. Sorry. Tangent time. Okay, let's see. So, Karen, you're saying, hey, Angie, I've been so worried and anxious about the current events and advice. Or I think maybe you're saying any advice. So, Karen, I think that for me, one of the things that I feel like is really helpful and healthy is that if you are somebody who's just like watching a ton of news or like watching all the stories and all of that, and we all have to make our own decisions. And I want to say this because I have quite a few people on, which is fun. The things that I share in my lives, they're my experience, they're my beliefs. I always, when I work with clients, it's like, please believe what you believe. If I say something that doesn't resonate to you, that's okay. We're all just on our own journeys and we're just learning as we go, right? Like I'm a human being on this journey as well. I just feel very connected to God and I just love him and I want to share what his messages have been to me, right? So if there's something that doesn't seem right for you, that's okay. I don't take offense to that at all. I definitely believe what you believe. So I think that's part of our beautiful journey, right? And that's what I love to talk to people about when I do my spiritual sessions is I want you to go down your path and like figure out what it means, life means for you and what you believe in. And that's what I love. And I love people sharing their beliefs with me because gosh, I learn so much from people every day that I work with. So Karen, what I would say is that if you're getting really anxious about what you're hearing and maybe you are watching the news a lot or looking at articles or you're on social media a lot and you're hearing kind of doom and gloom things, I would just say, think about this for yourself. We all have to make decisions on how much of that we're willing or able to allow in. For me personally, around like the second week of quarantine for me, which was probably like about 3 weeks ago, I was just inundated with all of the news about everything that was going on. And I realized my anxiety levels were going up quite a bit. And so I decided personally for myself, I allow like a certain time of the day to kind of get an update, to stay informed, to be really smart about what I need to do to take care of myself and protect other people and all of that kind of stuff. And I limited that, and that helped a lot for me personally. Now, I think it's important to be informed. It's important to know what's going on, all of those things. But I think what happens a lot with media is that it can become challenging to know exactly what is accurate and what might not be. I also feel like you have to remember there is a certain aspect of media that is sensationalism, right? Because they make their living off of that. And I'm not saying everything's accurate, everything's not accurate, whatever. I'm just saying you're highlighting certain stories, right? And so that can be, and the coronavirus, everything with that, I have been praying big time for anyone who has gotten it, people that have passed from it, family members where they had a loved one get it. I've been worried about certain specific family members of my own and loved ones and that kind of thing. It's hard, and it is definitely serious. And I've known people that their family members have had it, and I take it very seriously. But you have to decide for yourself what you can allow in, and maybe when you've had your shut off point where it's like, okay, maybe I need some boundaries with this. Maybe I need some restrictions on how much I'm consuming, because it can be very overwhelming pretty quickly. And the other thing that I would say about that is that everything's out of our control. It always is, right? Like we don't know exactly what's going to happen with all of this. And so we can start going down these like fear-based rabbit holes of what if this happens? What if that happens? The news said this, and then this might happen. But maybe it's going to happen. Maybe it's not. Right? Like we just have to stay in the moment, I think, as much as possible. And to remind yourself that, I wear masks outside. If I go to the store or anything like that, I basically am quarantining. I'm really careful about all of that. Making good decisions for myself. That also helps lower our anxiety. So what do we have control over? We don't have control over much except for our own reaction to things and how we are going to put some maybe good practices in place for staying healthy and taking care of ourselves. So that would be just a little bit of advice. And then I think the other thing is like positive self-talk as well. My faith is what just gets me through everything. I mean, just talking to God, praying. I pray a lot. I talk to God constantly. The other day I love listening to music, and I love singing, and just not that I like have the best voice or anything, but I just love music. And so I've been listening to a lot of like Christian music and that kind of thing. I love like 100.7 contemporary Christian music. And so like I talk to God so much, y'all, that I literally the other day was like, instead of saying, Alexa, start playing whatever, I was like, God, start playing. And I'm like, oh no, that's not how it works, Angie. It's Alexa, not God, playing the music. But so talking to God helps a lot, and praying, meditating, finding people that you can talk to. Like we all might go down these little spirals, right, of fear and that kind of thing, or anxiousness. Talk to a friend or talk to a family member, but figure out what works best for you, because you have to have those discernment as well with what you're hearing, right? Like discern what's your discernment with everything is what do you really need to know, and what's helpful and what might be getting to the area of unhelpful or unhealthy, too much of it. So Aaron is saying that sometimes I can hear a very high-pitched noise when others around me can't. Can you talk about that? Absolutely. So that's a frequency level. So a lot of times when you're starting to hear it's like a different level, it's either high pitched or it's maybe sometimes like a ringing in your ear, that kind of thing. That's the other side trying to communicate with you. And what I found a lot is that I can tell the difference between when it's like a loved one of mine versus like angels. And angel energy is always in my left ear when I feel very connected in, or your head almost feels like, oh my gosh, I feel like my head's under pressure all of a sudden, or that kind of thing. There's like a pressure to it. A lot of times you're connecting to the other side in angels, but I really hear it in my left ear. It's like a ringing. Basically, that's angel energy, and that's letting you know that they are there. And there are times as well, the pressure for me, a lot of times more, if I feel like a pressure change, that's me connecting in to loved ones. Oh, I love it, Tessa. I awakened my feminine energy the other day. You go, girl. I love it. I love it. Love it. You should have called me. I would have enjoyed that. Hi, Kayleen. Oh, I love it, Elizabeth. God is love. He absolutely is love. My brother just joined. Michael Montgomery. Hi, Mike. Love you. I get really happy when my brother joins. He does here and there. And I was like, oh my gosh, I love my brother. So some of you know that about me because I talk about him and I think he's amazing. And he is like my true and tried guy in my life, always has been. And he's wonderful. So love you, Mike. Hi, Sharon. It's good to see you on here as well. So I think I went through, hi, Alyssa. Oh my gosh, Alyssa. It's good to see you on here. I miss you. So thank you guys. Sandy K, girl. I love you, Sandy K. Love all of you. And Deb. Hi, Deb. So thank you guys for joining me. This is fun to get on here. I needed a little pick-me-up because, to be honest, I've basically been in quarantine all week. And I am an extrovert, if you could not tell. And I miss people, like straight up, and just missing people. I miss hugs. I miss seeing people in person. And I miss all my events. Like, I cannot wait to get back to doing a lot of my house parties and my classes and being in the community and all of that. It was like an energy hit me the other day of like, I miss all the people. So thank you guys for joining me. And I see a lot of like my friends on here and stuff. And it's just great to have this opportunity to do this. And I just want to remind everybody, I am super open for business. I am doing a lot of different things. I have been doing 30-minute sessions or hour-long sessions. I also have been doing a lot of like guidance sessions with people on things that might be coming up in their life or things they're meant to be learning right now during everything that's going on in the world, helping them open up to their gifts, their third eye, all of that stuff. I've been doing love sessions. I'm also a twin flame healer for those of you who might be a twin flamer. And so I've been doing a lot of love sessions and helping heal relationships and that kind of thing. I also, of course, can do remote Reiki. I also am doing like a fun house party where there's a gal, and she's not on here right now, but I had a house party scheduled for next week. And because of everything going on, of course, we can't do that in person, but we're just going to do remote sessions and people are just going to do virtual back to back and super fun. And then also people have reached out like, can you do a Zoom little reading party for 3 of us? Yeah, I can. So it's been fun to be creative and to continue doing my work. So if you are interested in a session, just reach out to me through my Facebook page or even text me at my phone number that's listed on my Facebook page as well. And I'm just really grateful that I still get to do my spiritual work through virtual sessions. And so there's several of you that have done them with me. So thank you for doing that. But I really can't wait until I can start seeing people again. So let's go ahead. I think that I've probably talked enough. So let's go ahead and actually end with a little bit of Reiki energy healing for everybody. I just want to send to everybody that's on and anyone that would watch this and just the world in general. I'm going to send some Reiki for those of you who are on that are also energy workers. Feel free to send energy as well. Or if you're just somebody who just wants to send good vibes, let's do that. let's go ahead and end there. So go ahead, if you're still on, go ahead and just take a little siesta real quick, right? Like a little time for yourself. Well, that's more of a nap, isn't it? Don't take a nap, but close your eyes. Close your eyes and just take a couple deep breaths again. And I'm just going to send some remote Reiki. So to end with, let's go ahead and set the intention that everybody that's on this live right now, and anyone watching, anyone that accepts it on a soul level, if you accept it, this energy healing, you can go ahead and just acknowledge it now and say, yes, I accept, to yourself. And I'll send it now with the intention of putting you on a vibrational path that's in alignment with your higher self and with your most authentic, best life that you could possibly imagine. Sending this Reiki with the intention that you are fully awakened in alignment with who you really are, and that you feel a very strong sense of knowing, of calling, and of peace through the rest of this downtime, this quarantine time. And if you're experiencing any anxiety, any worry, any doubt, any fear, that all of that is lifted from you now. Lifted from you, your loved ones, and your communities. If you accept that energy healing, you can say, I accept now. I'm going to do a little energy clearing work with my pendulum. So I'm asking the pendulum to go ahead and clear any old energies that no longer serve everybody on the call, any negative energies, anything that is life-taking, that is holding you back from moving forward or spiritual awakening, any fear, any thoughts that no longer serve you, any thought patterns that are not healthy, any structures of knowings, any inundations, or any types of energetic discord or disharmony that is within your energetic space. I'm asking that to be lifted now. I ask for Archangel Michael and Raphael to surround everybody on this call. Your angels, guides, and light workers that surround you to be with you through this process. Okay. Go ahead, if you're still on the call, take a nice, super deep breath. And if you're ready for this energetic activation to help you to rise to the next level and to spiritually awaken, go ahead and say, I accept now. And as we clear away the old energies, we make room for the new energies. So the clearing is done and has happened. When my pendulum moves back to going straight, that means that we're ready to bring in the new energy. So I ask for guides, God, and spirit to bring in the new energies for everyone on the call. If you are somebody who would like to accept this new energy and increase your vibration to the next level, you can say, I accept now. And take a moment to go ahead and set the intention for what you would like to create in your life. The energy that you want, the feelings you want, the vibration you want to be in, the love that you want to give and receive. And take a moment to really think about your own. If you're an Abraham Hicks person, you know what vortex means, or you know what creating, right? Law of attraction, manifestation. What is it that you want to manifest into your life at this time? Take a moment to think about that, to feel that, to sense that. As we're bringing in this new energy, we're moving into a new energy in our world, right? A new world is what we're trying to create at this time. New energy, new vibrations, new thought patterns, new beliefs about who we are and what we are, loving beliefs. We're ridding all of the old. It no longer serves us. It never did. And we're ready to release it and let it go. So what are you manifesting and creating in your life at this moment and every moment forward? All right. That is my pendulum saying we're good. Okay. That we're bringing that energy in. And vibe high, my friends. Remember, we are spiritual beings and we can interact in any frequency we want. We are in control of our realities as far as what we allow in energetically. So with that, thank you all. I hope that felt good. You can open your eyes if they were closed, and I hope that was healing for you. I feel really good. I hope you guys do too. I felt things like shifting away. I do a lot of healing work and I work a lot with the chakras, and I literally, my solar plexus was activated that whole entire time. And like, I just felt like whoosh, all of this energy like being released and unleashed, and it feels really good. So thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate it. I will be back live again. Like, I just kind of get in the mood, and then I put it on my Facebook page as well, so that I let you know when I'll be live. But again, if you would like to reach out to me for a session, I'm always here. Thank you guys so much for everything. I love all your beautiful souls that join me. So have a great rest of your Friday, everyone. I'll see you next time. Bye.